Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We are live, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us. It is the 28th day of March 2011. On this Monday edition, we're going to be here for the next 3 hours, and we do, in the last 30 minutes, have Larry Pratt, the director of Gun Owners of America, joining us to look at the new raft of anti-Second Amendment, victim disarmament, tyranny legislation that Obama and the Democrats are announcing that they're preparing to try to foist on the American people. Now, mainstream media in the last month, including CBS News, has picked up on the fact that the ATF was ordered to help get guns into Mexico en masse to the cartels so they could track them back to the U.S. and use that as a pretext to try to pass anti-Second Amendment legislation, claiming that the Second Amendment had caused the violence in Mexico, not the kleptocracy that runs it, not the phony drug war. So an amazing false flag launched against the Second Amendment. We're going to be discussing that with Larry Pratt coming up in the last 30 minutes today. Obviously, in the meantime, we've got a lot of extremely important news to cover and some very scary developments with the Fukushima reactor. Last Wednesday, they reported 1,600 times safe levels, upwards of 20 kilometers away. Then it was 10,000 times safe levels. Then there was an incredible report by Tokyo Power and Electric saying it was 10 million times. They revised that to 100,000 times, confirming 100,000 times safe levels. And they admit, even in the Washington Post, that will kill you deader than a hammer if you just get limited exposure. You get about a year's exposure of radiation in just 15 minutes from that level. And, of course, that's just if it's basically background radiation. If you inhale any of it, it basically just sits inside your body, baking you. So we're going to be going over all of those new developments. Also, Obama is to push his big Libya speech tonight. The UN resolution and what Hillary Clinton has basically spun out of that is that if they don't accept a humanitarian ground force, just like the bombardment isn't war, it's kinetic military action, and a ground invasion by the UN backed by NATO, that won't be a ground invasion either. That will be I guess, ground kinetic event or humanitarian mission. So they're definitely stampeding towards that. And the al-Qaeda rebels, the good guys, according to our controlled corporate press, and they admit it's al-Qaeda, but they say if you don't like it, you're a conspiracy theorist. I mean, if you don't like Diet Coke, you're a conspiracy theorist. If you don't like MSG, you're a conspiracy theorist. If you don't like radiation, you're a conspiracy theorist. If Monbiot, the big eugenicist, is running around laughing, saying he loves nuclear now, Fukushima shows how great it is. And you're like, well, that's a bizarre, crazy-sounding statement. They're attempting to basically just muddy the waters with purposeful confusion and insanity. That's how desperate this system has gotten. So Obama gears up for hard sell on Libya. Libyan rebels, al-Qaeda, seize oil complexes amid reports opposition captures Gaddafi's hometown. Depleted uranium, a strange way to protect Libyan civilians. They are bombarding them with DU, but again, radiation is life-giving, according to Ann Coulter and Mr. Monbiot on the left and right. Another headline here from Eric Blair at Infowars.com. Liberals willing to trade blood and treasure for oil company profits under Obama. Also, prominent Chinese blogger charged as crackdown deepens for criticizing government. The Chinese dispense with the conspiracy theorist label like Cass Sunstein uses. And we're going to be breaking all of that down today. And a big New York Magazine classic dribble hit piece we'll be hitting on as well. Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones. You've heard me talk about Cal-Ben 5-star soaps for years. This is an American-made product of the highest quality and compares to nothing you will find in stores. You can buy factory direct, shipped via UPS right to your door. Check them out on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091. Take my word for it. Once you've used Pure Soap, you won't buy anything else. Since 1947, Cal-Ben Soap Company has been showing consumers that soap can be tough on dirt and gentle on the environment. Buy American and stay clean, as well as support InfoWars. Visit 5starsoap.com today or call 1-800-340-7091. Well, Marty, what do you have to say?
As founder and owner for over 63 years, satisfaction is guaranteed or double your dirt back. Call us at 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog or visit our website, 5starsoap.com. Thank you.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
We have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at prisonplanet.tv.
Alex has told you about the terrible perfect storm of rising food prices. The Japanese tragedy proves how important food is. Our own gas prices are driving food costs through the roof. The huge population countries are buying up American unprotected exports of food. The falling dollar is inflating food prices. Ethanol subsidies are driving fuel and food costs to all-time highs. We are experiencing the greatest explosion of food shortages and food prices America has ever seen. Folks, you have to freeze the cost and availability of your food now. Through March 31st, eFoods Direct has free shipping on all orders. You can freeze the cost and availability of your food and have it shipped free. Call 800-409-5633 on the web efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Free shipping ends March 31st. 800-409-5633 on the web efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Again, it is Monday, the 28th day of March 2011. Larry Pratt covering the Obama administration, the Justice Department, and the ATF caught red-handed. Even CBS News reported on this weeks ago, shipping guns into Mexico, allowing guns to be shipped in to then track them back so they could then blame the Second Amendment for all the problems of the corrupt, failed state that is Mexico. And they don't care that they've been caught. They're still, as we predicted a year ago, using the crisis in Mexico to go after the Second Amendment. Wasn't hard to see them getting that geared up and ready. And, of course, we've had sources like Celly Castillo, who's the head DEA agent in Latin America for many years, on with us 6 years ago, announcing that a new war would be launched in Mexico by the big cartels laundering their money through large Western banks, mainly in the U.S. and Canada, and that they were going to launch a war against the smaller cartels that were not laundering their money through them. AP, Bloomberg, and others have reported just in the last 3 months, 360-plus billion laundered by one U.S. bank alone that owned and chartered the aircraft to ship the cocaine, heroin, and marijuana into the United States. And we've covered that ad nauseum here, but the fact is Obama has launched a false flag terror attack on America by shipping the guns to Mexico that were then used in crimes in Mexico and the U.S. as a pretext to crack down on the Second Amendment. That is an act of terrorism. If I shipped thousands of guns to Mexico to create violence so that I could get a political goal achieved, that follows the classical definition of terrorism: to carry out violence or threaten violence to pressure a political organization or a group or population into submitting to your political demands. Terrorism. Terrorists run America and are running it into the ground. And the globalists have successfully taken over the U.S. and much of the planet. They're mopping up the few third world countries that they didn't control, like Libya right now, throwing out dictators that weren't properly subservient and sycophantic, like Hosni Mubarak in Egypt. And then, of course, they're marching on towards Syria, Iran, Indonesia, and, of course, Russia. So that is just some of what's coming up today. I want to hit the latest Libya news and the latest Fukushima news as the crisis intensifies, but it's a 16, 17-day-old crisis, kind of like now Haiti's a year old, and people don't even know that 100,000 plus died, tens of thousands have died since, one of the biggest humanitarian disasters in modern history, but it's not in the headlines anymore, so we just forget about it. It's the same thing with Japan. The Washington Post, AFP, and AP are all reporting that the Japanese have confirmed 100,000 times safe levels of radiation pouring out of the shattered nuclear reactors at Fukushima. 100,000 times. First it's 1,600 last Wednesday. Then it's 10,000 on Friday. Now, on Saturday, the Japanese put out a false report, misreading their Geiger counters, of 10 million times. They revised it by Sunday evening and said, excuse us, it's only 100,000 times. And I want to get to that first. But coming up later in the hour, and Paul Watson is set to publish a rebuke of this latest classical hit piece at prisonplanet.com. We have a detailed, very lengthy report, and we'll put this up on screen for viewers, and it's got a bizarre headline: "A strange man is following you." And it says, shouting about mind control assassins, the 911 conspiracy, and the Bilderberg Group, radio host Alex Jones has cornered the bipartisan paranoia market. And you can see I put my war face on there for the globalist. That will then get the people reading New York Magazine to then actually read the article, and then they'll actually find the real show, not the straw man cliche created by Joe Hagan. So that is coming up, and it dovetails with a sickening piece. Well, it's sickening what Media Matters has been caught doing. Media Matters' war against Fox. $10 million a year, tax-free. It's 501c3. They tell your local church if they speak out against abortion, they'll have their 501c3 taken. No free speech. That's all fraud. But then Media Matters can openly announce publicly a guerrilla war to destroy Fox and destroy their business. That is torturous interference. I mean, there's no doubt Fox could absolutely destroy them in court. But because they're funded by George Soros and others, they will just simply